I am live. Happy Tuesday, everyone. It's Tuesday tea with Mo. It's Tuesday tea with Mo. How's everybody doing? I hope well. Today did not happen for me. I had a few things planned that did not go as planned. So I'm gonna pick it up again tomorrow. So I'm sitting and I am conducting this live in my car. I had a whole day planned out. I plan to be ready. Hey Ash. Okay. Moon's here.
Hello.
Hi Moon.
Hello.
I know we can't get we do the sugar blossom honey strawberry sweet peach. They don't know about all that. They don't know about all that. Moon Bounce, how are you?
I am good. It's so interesting. Ow, I bumped my knee. Before you accepted me on and you were talking about how your day didn't go as planned.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to you and I'm like laughing to myself because literally like I had my day was going as planned
Yeah.
from 7:22 this morning and up until 15 minutes ago, after having my day impeccable, I put my contact in with the wrong solution.
I think
So,
your service is not good.
oh, so what's happening?
Okay,
So
now we can
what do
hear
you?
you.
Okay, so wait. So if I'm gonna sit down,
Are you
some
moving around?
no, but if you can't hear me here, then I'm gonna go to another spot. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, no, it's very muffled.
Okay, so can you hear me here?
I can hear you there.
Better?
That's much better. But I can barely
Is,
see you, but it's okay. I
wait, can
mean,
you see
like
me now?
the quality isn't good, but it's fine. It's cool.
Wait, can you see me now? What
Very
do I need
little.
more? Do I need more lights?
Do you want me to X you? No, the picture is like completely blurry. Do you want me to X you out and get you back in?
Okay,
Okay, and just request me again. Sorry, guys.
okay.
Um, just a little technical difficulties, but we going back in here. Hey guys, so I'm on with first of all, I'm doing Tuesday tea remote with my car because as I was saying earlier, the day did not come through. Child, we tried, but it didn't work out. But that's okay. So I pulled over because I didn't want to be late for the live. So Moon is back. Let's see. Waiting for Moon. Waiting for Moon.
How's
There you
that?
go.
Is that better?
It's better.
Is it blurry completely like before?
Yes, blurry,
How come it's
but
blurry for you but not for me?
I don't know.
Because I can see you and me clearly.
Sorry, guys. Let's just keep it moving. It's fine.
So, okay. But you can't see. Can
Huh?
you but you can't see me. Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I don't know what happens with the lives when Because I've seen other people's lives and their lives are clear as day. I be trying to figure out what are you doing? Because my lives always look, the quality doesn't always look very good. But let Naja and Cash tell it. It's because I have an Android and not an iPhone.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
So,
they stay coming for me because I have an Android. I've always had an Android. It works well for me.
do they have iPhones?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
How come when you're with you, it kind of delayed? Is that
I don't know.
okay? So anyway, so I my
Janine,
wait a second.
your
Oh, hello.
Lemonade, I was just thinking about you. Yes.
How's this? Is it better? Any better?
No.
No.
That's better.
Okay. So I
That's
was gonna
better.
go. Wait, right here. You can see. Can you see me
Yes.
better?
Like all the you're clear.
Clear all the way.
Pretty much.
Better than before?
Oh my God, Moon.
Wait, better than before?
Much better than before.
Okay, so then I'm gonna stay on the stairs. Wow. Standing, I'm like on the stairs. Maybe if I go upstairs,
Yeah,
this
she
is
said,
even better.
no.
So let me know if it gets better or worse. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. It's going in and out. But this live cuts off after a certain time.
Okay, I'm just trying to find a spot to sit down.
We don't gotta get it all the way right.
How's this?
That's perfect.
No, you're saying that, but you just want
Oh
me to
my
stop.
God. No, look at the screen. She said better.
Oh, okay. Okay, good, good. All right.
You didn't believe me.
No, because I know you want to move it on. You're like, okay, I'm good. He's being OCD cancer. Like,
See? PD
you're like
cancer.
too much. You're going too much.
I know you. It's all good.
Okay,
See?
so
Thumbs up. We got thumbs up.
okay, good, good. So, like I was telling you, when you were saying your
Yes.
day went in a different direction,
Yeah.
15 at 4:44, I went to put my contacts in and I put it in the wrong solution. I literally, for 15 minutes, I could not see. And I was like, okay, I'm going to text her and say I got to come in late. And I had to keep it moving. I'm like talking to
You were
my,
about to be in the emergency room.
yeah, I'm talking to my
You didn't
angels.
put
I'm
yourself in the
like,
emergency room.
and I said, I said, really? All day, like 15 minutes before, and then I kept it. I connected with the sources. They told me what to do. I did my thing, and then I wasn't even dressed. I had no clothes on. I had no clothes on, which all I need, I guess, a top, but I still had no clothes on. And then I get dressed, and I'm like, okay, I'm still trying to get things perfect, and then I bump into a table. And that's when the spirit says, sit
Sit
down
your ass
right now.
down.
Sit down right now and just don't do it
Don't
anymore.
do nothing.
I said, I just want to have one more last look. They said, no, 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 no. Sit down. I was like, wow. Okay. And I just hobbled over and sat down. I said, no more last looks, no more nothing.
Say no
So
more.
say no more. So I'm like, okay, all right. So here we are. Here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. How have you been?
Good. We're good.
Yeah. good.
Yeah, I mean, I am, I'm me, so I'm gonna be good
Yeah.
as I'm navigating. Hello, Sanyu. Hello, digital. As we're navigating towards the light, even though there's some shade on the way. So I'm good in the shade because I
Yeah.
know that there's only the covering that I can just move over, and
Mm-hmm.
the light is right. You can see my hand, like the light is right there. So I'm always connected to light. So that's what I'm saying. I'm good.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the things I know what we want to talk about today is with me sharing how, as a sensitive person,
Mm-hmm.
what I can share in regards to navigating in a time like we're in right now.
Yeah.
One, and how I got into life coaching and whatever it is else about life coaching. Do you want to still talk about that?
I want this to go however it's gonna go. I
Okay.
mean,
So
I want it to be organic, you know what I mean?
how are you feeling right now?
I feel great.
Okay.
Yeah,
Even with
I
the
feel great. Thank you for
even with your
asking.
okay. You're welcome. Even with your day
Even
shifts
with
and shifting.
even with my day shift, I feel I feel great about that just because like for whatever reason I'm okay with the fact that for whatever reason it wasn't supposed to happen today. But I've also been I've been putting in the work, so I know that it'll happen exactly when it's supposed to, and it's going to do what it's supposed to do. So I didn't let that get the rest of my day bent out of shape. And then also, it's just for me, um, it was a moment of just like me time in the car by myself, just by myself, period, because I'm very rarely by myself. And then I had the time to do, Tuesday tea remote. So like I was saying, like I pulled over to the side and I'm literally sitting in my car. But I am very, very grateful and very aware that, because this is creative for me. I just went off on a tangent. Huh.
No, you had to express himself.
Yeah. I mean, you asked me a question. So,
It has to come out. That's good.
well, I didn't, it wasn't anything holding in. This is just in the moment. You asked me how I was doing, and then you asked me, am I still like, and I said, I'm great. And you say, you're still great even with the shift. And I said, yeah, because I'm confident that what was
So you're
supposed to happen
so wait, you're
is
repeating
going,
what you said? So now you're
yeah,
repeating it.
yeah, I'm just saying that that's how we got to where we
Just
are
a
now.
recap. Just a recap.
You don't mind that. You know what?
Yeah, I did several of my hey Jess. I did several of my life coaching sessions pulled over in the car, leaving
Yeah,
set, pulled over in the car, looking for a spot that was really quiet to do my sessions.
yeah.
So, and it was amazing. So one thing I want, I know that I could tell that you are um, centering yourself in the little shift of your day. I can tell, and that's good. And so I want to say that so I want the life coaching thing and the empath and sensitivity thing. I
Mm-hmm.
have discovered the power of me being a
The phone
very.
keeps going out.
Are you there?
Say it again. You have
Did
discovered
you
what?
my power of
Uh-huh.
being a sensitive, highly sensitive person,
Okay.
and the power of that. When for a very long time it was just an overwhelming burden.
Mm.
And in preparation, even for this time that we're in right now, because as a sensitive person and as a person that feels everything, that means no matter what's going on, there's really no breaks
Yeah.
for a person like me.
Yeah.
And most a lot of times in the past, it's my the things that I'm exposed to are very limited because it's based on who I'm around. But now we're in a time where it's a global, all-around situation, and once I step out the door or past some area of the house and some news is playing, like I'm exposed to these things. I'm not as protected, not as protected, as isolated as I would normally be, just in general. But then, so that showed me another level of my sensitivity, because now as soon as I walk outside, whenever I go out, I am affected emotionally by just seeing people with masks on.
Yeah.
Or seeing stores closed down. And even though everyone could be okay, it is I can feel that it is definitely I guess it could be a struggle. It's definitely something that pulls on people, because I can feel it. But then I can either stay in the house, which I am most of the time, but then when I have to venture out just to go to Trader Joe's, I'm dealing with the elements, which is what's going on outside. And with that, prior to this moment, one of the things that I learned and discovered and navigated is how to navigate as a sensitive person, a highly sensitive person, and how self-care is a huge aspect of that. And hold on a second, I need to blow my nose. And not just the idea of self-care, but really understanding the details and the layers of self-care. Because self-care is based on the individual. There are things that are collective, but then there are things that are very, very, very specific to the needs of a person. And for myself, I have tapped into understanding what are my specific needs in my self-care routine and self-care lifestyle. And a lot of that a lot of that self-care presents itself to other people outside of the box of what self-care is. And so as soon as I am doing my very specific details of self-care, it's very uncomfortable and very disturbing and very misunderstood by a lot of people, because most people are looking at self-care or look at self-care as something that fits the umbrella of everyone. And then that leaves people out of who really are trying to take care of themselves, because unless they understand that their need of self-care is very, very specific, then they're not really doing their self-care. And so with my self-care, a lot of it has been challenged to my family. You know, if I don't share certain things or I don't react to certain things, and that leaves them in the dark of not being able to understand something. But I've tried to convey to them, and even directed them to books and research to understand the level of my sensitivity, so that there's nothing to really be misunderstood. And then when I'm doing those things that they don't understand, it's me just taking care of myself. And if I don't take care of myself specifically for their needs, then I'm and what they're going to see in front of them, I think that will kind of throw them off a little bit more. So do they want to have me stand up and then not understand what or they want me to fall down on the ground and pass out and be in millions of pieces. And then they're like, oh, but you know what was interesting? They'll probably understand that because they say, well, you can go to the hospital now. Or, you could take this medication. We get that. But this thing that you're doing by being quiet is not working for them.
Mm.
But that is, to me, that's very important, and that I want to share with people in regarding to how to take care of themselves all the time, and really understand themselves first,
Mm-hmm.
and have that be how they lead toward taking care of themselves, and during this
Yeah.
time or any time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Which you,
That's important because if we don't know ourselves truly, right, then we get triggered because we feel like maybe someone isn't respecting boundaries or whatever have you, or understanding like how we do our self-care. Like it's this is what I do. I don't do what you do. Like, yeah, it's a journey even getting to the point to where you are confident enough to say, yeah, no, that's just not how I do it. Right. Because sometimes we either disregard or we miss, we either disregard or we just dismiss. That's what I want to say. Or we dismiss. Because a part of self-care, I feel like, is standing up for yourself. You know what I mean? Especially when you need to do something for you. So that's a journey. That could be a journey too. Like just getting to the point where you can just be like, no, this is how I do it. You know what I mean? Like I have a friend. She gets headaches a lot, and it's just something hormonal. Hey, real. And
hey,
so
Diva
she,
Legs.
huh?
I was saying hi to Diva Legs. Okay.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So she, when she, when it, as a woman, when she's going through her time, she sleeps. She has to sleep. She literally has to sleep, and she sleeps for like 3 to 4 days. Like she sleeps like throughout the day. But that's the only thing that for her is her self-care throughout that time, because she feels so depleted. And she's also very spiritual, so she feels like she's just purging, so she just wants to stay alone in her cocoon, and that bothers, you know,
That
she's,
bothers.
she's had to deal with other, she's had to work on not feeling like, no, this is what I need to do. I'm not lazy. I'm not just like, yes, I
Wait,
have
I
to do.
mean, she not feeling what?
Huh?
You said she had to work on not feeling what?
Oh, she had to work on not feeling guilty about taking that time for herself.
Is she doing that? Working on that? What?
I guess
How does
so.
she? Did she say how she do that?
Huh?
Did she say how she does that? How she doesn't works on not feeling guilty
Um, no. I guess it's just like using her voice.
towards expressing that to people,
Like vocally expressing it.
and that helps her not feel guilty. Because what if, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I can't speak on how, I don't know her, but I'm just saying I was, speaking on when you were saying like everyone's self-care is different. It doesn't look the same for everybody.
I will say that guilt is like a layer of something that doesn't belong to anyone. And it could be part of the process, just like mourning, but it's not something in my, even not even just my opinion, but in my feedback from people as they're journeying through something, still having that attached to them, still leaves
Mm-hmm.
them not where they want to be. So based on research, that's not something to carry along with the person. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
um, and and it's really simple, even though it's something to unpack. But it's just as simple as just not choosing to feel guilty. That's it. Because
Mm-hmm.
at some point, that's where the end result is. As the person's unpacking it or working towards that decision, ultimately that's what it
Mm-hmm.
ends up being. I'm not choosing that, because it's always going to be a situation where that's going to present itself for a person to feel guilty about something, because
Mm-hmm.
they're always going to be coming across a person that may not be comfortable with how a person is. And so then at that point, now if you haven't reached a point where you're just not choosing that anymore, then it's going to
Mm-hmm.
be something that needs to be unpacked over and over and over and over and over again. And so
Mm-hmm.
eh, those little things are the things that are the highlights of the individual, or really what it is that they are really struggling with. And if a person is leading towards self-care, and self-care could just kind of be like a carrot in front of us to dangle us to keep moving forward, or it could be a real place. But then when those things show up like guilt, then it's like, okay, that's the thing I need to let go of in the name of quote unquote self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I have that feeling of guilt, then it kind of takes away the self-care. It kind of defeats the self-care in itself, you know, and understanding where the guilt is coming from. But then ultimately you can just not be, not choosing it. Get to
Yeah.
the point where the person is just being and don't have to explain anymore, because part of the
Mm-hmm.
explaining is another thing, because if you already know who you are, what's there to say? You can just be, and then everyone else can figure it out. Or then the person can say, you know what, you tell me what you see. You know what, because I already know who I am. I already got it. I'm not doing that. Did it, done it. You seem to have something, a puzzle that you want to, or a riddle you want to solve, which would be me. So unriddle me and share your thing if you like or not, but I am clear. And so there's no need to explain. There's no need to feel guilty. And when the guilt shows up, and it's personal, because only the person can feel it, then you put it to rest. And this is for your friend. And this is
Mm-hmm.
for me and everyone. Put it to rest. As soon as it pops up, pop it down, and then all of a sudden keep it moving. Because
Mm-hmm.
then if it grows, then and you gotta work through it, then went backwards.
Yeah.
Those are the things that need to no longer be on the table anymore. It's like, no,
Yeah.
yeah, what I
What's
like.
interesting is the conversation actually kind of like circled back around to bring what you just said back to earlier for me. Like once I knew that didn't happen, I let it go, right? Because I'm cool. Like I'm on to the next thing, and I know that you know
How do you,
I didn't allow it to affect the rest of my day, because sometimes it's easy to
but how do you
stay.
do that? How do you do that? How do you allow it not to affect the rest of your day? People need to know that, like how that's done, because we could say that, but then it's like, okay, but it's affecting the rest of my day. How do I do that? So how do you do that? Just for the viewers.
Yeah, no. My mm, the ways that I've handled that situation have evolved over time. So now how I do it is in gratitude. Like I'm like, okay,
Mm.
it's not
Go
the
ahead.
worst that could have happened. You know what I'm saying? And I think about like, oh, I've handled much worse. And then I also just accept that it is what it is in the moment. So
So
now,
gratitude,
yeah,
acceptance,
gratitude, acceptance.
acceptance.
hmm Um,
Which are huge in itself. I mean, those two things will knock all the pins down. Gratitude alone and acceptance, they will knock the pins down. You got a strike right there. Yes,
yeah,
yes,
I
digital.
mean, let me tell you, you know how I got to gratitude staying in gratitude about it is because like, you know, and this is something that I've just had to work through, right? And I'm still working through it, but um, I realize how much more open things stay within, you know, your world, your universe, your spirit, the door, whatever the door's opening. Like it's like playing kickball, right? The ball can come to you, but you can kick it right off, and then you're gonna keep on going. And it may come again, but then you just kick it to the side, right? And when it's time to deal with it, it's gonna stay right there, but you're not gonna have a choice but to deal with it, right? So I'm like,
So
okay,
what if?
I'm
Okay.
grateful
So
that
okay,
I
wait.
can keep
So
on
you
going.
so you're kicking the ball to the side. Do you have to get those balls again, or like what are those balls doing as you kicking the
No,
side?
because listen, in the game of kickball, like they're two teams, so you're not the
Uh
only
huh.
person people are kicking the ball to. So I say that to say that, um, you know, things are gonna happen. They're gonna be little shifts and big shifts and whatever. But it's like you got, it's like dodgeball. You just keep, you deal with it. If you could do something about it, do something. If you can't, then you move forward to the next thing. Because if we spend our time asking the why something happened or what if this and what if that and it could have went the other way, like that means that's less energy you give into the next thing you could be working on.
The interesting thing that I've discovered about gratitude, because gratitude is a huge thing for me, and I had a life changing lesson in gratitude, which allowed me to understand the essence of gratitude, what I like to share
Mm-hmm.
with the people, is
Mm-hmm.
that the thing with gratitude that I've discovered and experienced is it's almost like a situation happens, even like you're describing with the kickballs, and you take a situation that you don't understand or you don't doesn't feel good, and you put it on the shelf. You put it on the shelf in gratitude because you don't understand it right now. It don't doesn't
Mm-hmm.
feel good. You don't get it, but you put it on your shelf because it's yours and you want to keep it and you're grateful for it in gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
even though you don't like it. And it allows, and in doing that, move on to the next thing, knowing that that thing that you put on the shelf that doesn't feel good and you don't understand it, it was necessary. Because later
Mm-hmm.
on the line, the answer or the clarity of that thing that was put on the shelf is going to be revealed, and then it can be embraced in a way that feels better. But from the beginning, it still had a purpose. It's
Mm-hmm.
part of a piece of a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And we never really have to put anything really, we don't never really have to just keep it moving. We need to, like you said, gratitude and acceptance, put the piece in its place and then get the next piece because all the pieces together make reveal the
Uh-huh.
whole. And
Mm-hmm.
and being able to this thing about gratitude, being able to, and why I shift things, being able to feel good about that thing that feels shitty, being able to taste the sweetness in something that is so bitter. And these are kind of abstract things. Oh wait, how do you? Oh wait, okay, I can't really. Oh, my glasses. Oh wait, Sonya said
I'll
something.
ask
How do you?
you.
What did Sonya said? What?
She says, how do you have gratitude for something that doesn't feel good long before you understand its purpose?
Okay, that it's a thing of you replace grateful with gratitude. Grateful is, and to me, is actually being okay with the thing that you just got. It's kind of like an action. I like this, so I'm grateful for receiving it. Gratitude is I don't like it, but I'm thankful for it. So, and then you just do that with it. And like the time you like don't like separate it from being grateful to have it be its own thing. Because the thing about gratitude to me is a thing that is just constant. It's for now and it's for the future. Grateful is more for now. You know, I'm grateful for this gift. I'm grateful for this piece of thing. Gratitude is spread out. And I think a lot of people, and maybe that's not even the truth, but that's how I unpack it, and that's how it works for me. Because, and from experience, every single thing, that I'm describing that I am putting in gratitude that doesn't feel good, every single time when it's revealed, the purpose is revealed, it's like, wow, it makes sense. And I would not have wanted it any different. So
but being able to do that, you have to be in a very trusting state.
Exactly. And that's why I said
not only trusting, like taking a risk. That's a risk for some of us. That's a risk, just like even saying, okay, everything you just explained. So it's multi-layered, like even trying to get there.
Right. That's why I said I had I forgot the words, a very layered, impactful, new word, experience with gratitude. And once I had that experience, it became clear. But it wasn't until I had that experience, it was personalized and it was personal, and that's when the shift kicked in. And so every person, I feel, in order to get to that place, really from the core, has to have an experience like that. Because until that, it's really going to be something that's always going to have to be navigated over and over and over and over again. And for myself, up until I had that experience, I had to do that myself. But ever since that experience, I never had to do it ever again. And what I do is I share that experience and then allow a person to look for that type of same experience in their life, and maybe with my sharing, if it's something that they didn't recognize on their own, or maybe it hasn't come yet, as it comes to the future, that they will make the connection. And there may be other ways of getting there as well, but just from my own personal experience and how it was just such a dramatic, instant shift that has been constant now because that thing happened probably 3, 4, 7, 8 years ago, and it's never. And I've been challenged and challenged and challenged. Woo! Like never before and like before, but never. I never went back to that place, and so. And so because of that, I know it's possible, and also because I didn't always feel that way, I know that to not feel that way is real too.
Say that again. You didn't always feel what?
I didn't always feel this way, so I know that not
Um,
feeling the way I feel now is also real too.
yeah.
And if I hadn't had that experience, I
Mhm.
couldn't I couldn't with certainty say what I'm saying right now,
Mhm.
because I wouldn't I wouldn't have that truth of that experience to back it up. And I am a person, which you mentioned, trust, has huge trust issues, and I'm
Mhm.
always navigating the trust thing. And I use my tool, which is that experience, and I use gratitude to help navigate. But the trust part is another is another one of those things that is constant, and you have to keep choosing it. You have to keep choosing it, and you have to keep choosing it, and even as you're falling, you keep choosing it, you keep choosing it, and then that's how you get to that place. And even if a person actually lands flat on their face, there's still this period before the person landed flat on their face and they stop trusting, that there was a momentum that was built, and you walk away with the bruises and the scars and the smashed up face, and you take the pieces that that you got before you landed, and that's what you move forward with until the next situation. And maybe the person won't land flat in the face again, or if they do, they'll pick up those pieces that they gathered from that moment. it, and it's just part of the beauty of the adventure of life. It's an action thing. It's an experience. It's good and bad, and feeling good, not feeling bad. It's all those things. That's what we're here for, to have experiences. Or we can just sit in the sidelines and do nothing and watch other people, or we can get in the game, our game, not the game
Mhm.
of life, or other people's game. Get in your own game. Because the thing is, if you get in your own game, the bruises are yours, the scars are yours, the shame is yours, and you can throw it away if you want. Guilt is yours. The choices are yours. It's all yours, and it's okay. And when you're sitting with yourself, you're like, I did something, or not, and play it safe. But then if you're not okay with that anyway, then what's the point? If you're sitting in the sidelines, getting antsy in your seat because you want to play, and you get in there and you get knocked down, and maybe enjoy that. Like, when I'm in, I'm doing what I wanted to do, and celebrate that. And I'm
Mhm.
talking in a way that it's after the part where the person realized something, but it's still true. Whether a person is experiencing what I'm saying or not, what I'm saying is still part of the possibility. You know, and I can listen to a person say where they are, and then I can present a picture of, based on what they say, where they can go, and then that could be their gauge, their blueprint. But because each person is sharing their possibilities, whether they believe it or trust it or is hard, they already see the vision. And all I'm saying, I'm just focusing on the vision that they've projected, and even the vision that I keep projecting for myself, even as I'm in it, because the projection of that vision that's bright and light and um, the success of my hard work is just as real for me as the traumatic situation that I may be in at the moment. It's the
Agreed.
same.
Agreed. You know what? You know what popped up for me listening to you just say that was that in this, I feel like this is because we all have ego. It's how we use our ego, right? So I feel like that would be a moment to use your ego. I mean, those are moments you have to, excuse me, essentially use your ego to pull yourself up out of the dirt. Like you have to do so much self-talk and so much like believing in yourself. When you know you've like hit rock bottom and you know what that feels like and you just keep getting like you have to use a part of your ego to help get you through that because no one else can make you feel great about the decisions that you make but you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So sometimes it is like you have to look in the mirror and say, yes, I am this, I am that, I am strong, I can do this, I am fear, whatever it is that you feel about yourself, you may need to use that during that time. You know what I mean? Like, but that's not the same as ego as in like, I'm better than you. But personally, how I work out those moments is like, I'm better than the person that is trying to like talk to me in my head, like all the doubt, all the fear, all of those things. I'm better than that person or that thing or
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So would you say that the other person in your head, is it also, is it your ally? Is it your adversary?
It
You
can be that.
know,
I feel like I think that is objective. Like I feel like that's a perspective. You know what I mean? It can be your ally or it can be work against you in a negative way. I think that's all about perception because for me, an ally can be something or someone that's challenging you. You know, so that may be a good thing if it's pushing you to another level of something. So
right.
I just feel like that's a question that's subjective. Like for me, I could use that as an ally. I would say yes, it's an ally because it challenges me to grow through a situation. But some
Okay.
people might be like, no, that means it's bad for me, and that's understandable too.
Right. So the thing is to get to I feel, to get to a place where the person has now, that other part that you're describing is your is never working against you. And
Hmm.
and 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 you graduated to a place where it's that part of you that's pushing you or getting you to take that leap, that could be like the ego, or someone is being taken advantage of, and this part of them that stands up for themselves is more aggressive, and it's the same type of energy that a person needs to think about themselves first, like being
Hmm.
egotistical. But from my experience, at a lower vibration or lower level ourselves, that thing that we're calling ego in this conversation is kind of is a lower vibration, it's a lower energy. And when we no longer need that lower energy, but we still need the aggressive push, think about me first, like that thing that looks like it's could be an ego part, is really not. It's like that other higher self that we're now working with. And the ego self could show up, but is not really helping. it's not really our friend. Like, it's not. Like, at some point, it's kind of like gone. It's really gone. Especially if you can see the difference between, like, clearly how, like, for me, how I was at a time in my life that I no longer am that way at all. Like, there's that thing I call the ego self. That part of me is so gone.
Yeah, but
Like,
so I have a question. So, in your opinion, is the ego self 100% a negative thing?
well, no, but I'm saying there is a part of the ego self that's not working for us at all. So,
Absolutely.
and so that part could be, in this moment of the conversation, could
Huh.
be the negative part of the ego, and then there's a positive part of the ego. So I'm saying that if the ego can be divided into a positive and a negative, that the positive part of the ego at some point steps in, and it still plays a role of of a of an energy that would be like the ego, but it's not with the same intentions anymore. That there's a shift that it's almost like it's like the our coach or our cheerleader, but that's going to push in a way that is uncomfortable. Is going to step out in opportunities that are uncomfortable, and then have us grow in areas that are necessary, with the tensions of us being the best, opposed with the negative ego, the lower part of the ego, with the tension is not for us to be the best. The tension is
Mm-hmm.
for that part of us to stay in a place that's most comfortable for the lower ego self,
Mm-hmm.
not the high ego self. Because I still think that we need this self, which we call the ego self in this conversation, that is going to stretch us because we can get comfortable. That's going to push us or to do things that we would not normally do because maybe we got comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I definitely, and I've never heard anyone really talk about it in this way that I'm explaining it, as like the ego being positive, negative. There's two parts to it. But in this conversation, because you presented a point that made, amen, Jessica, you made a point that allowed me to want to pull the ego along, but at the same time, not pull a part that's dragging us down along. Because
Right. It definitely
if we,
it's definitely it's the choice between. I'm so sorry, Moon. I cut you off. Go ahead.
but if people don't see the separate parts of the ego,
Mm-hmm.
based on this conversation that we're having, then it could be confusing because the ego is it good? Is it bad? Is it convenient? So
Well,
that could be
doesn't that go back to being true to yourself? Like I feel like we all know when we're in our lower selves and we know when we're in our higher selves. It's whether or not we choose to sit in a lower self at that moment or choose to sit in our higher self. We have choices.
right.
But
So
you
that's
don't
right.
feel like we all know when we're in our lower and higher self?
I believe that we do all know. I think, and sometimes people act like they don't. I really think that people always do know.
Right.
Sometimes they don't know what to do with that.
Right.
So then it's like, okay, what do I
That's
do?
understandable. But I think initially we all know when we're in our lower selves and higher selves because we know when we don't feel good and we know when we're not making others feel good. I,
Right, but then, let me add this to you while you're on that point. But if a person isn't Because then in that part, we know we're in our lower self. But if we're not aware of our higher self, because a lot of people aren't, then they can't step out of that. And then it's like they're just, all their actions are still from that lower self, and they think it makes sense.
I
But
can
if
see, I
you're
can,
able,
yeah.
right. So
Hmm.
even, so that more conscious person that's aware of the lower self and the higher self, the fact that they're more conscious, they can actually step out of it, whereas that other person will stay right where they are. And in the name of I'm right, in the
Right.
name of I'm not even, I know I'm acting shitty, but you know what? This is what I do, But that other person that knows this is what I also do, then they get to make a choice. They don't
But what,
just,
okay, so what about that person that is conscious, that is aware, know, they know, they know their higher self, but that empath comes a lot. They have that empath, or we have compassion, or what do you say to those, to us, those of us in those moments, that we're just like, okay, am I being a little too compassionate? Am I just, or should I just fall back and let that person just understand that's where that person is on their journey?
okay, I want to say, I think no one can ever be too compassionate, ever. There definitely are things that come along with being compassionate, but it's one of those things that you take a punch. You can choose not to do it because you know what, I don't want to do it right now. But it's just one of those things that it's you can never have enough of a good thing. You can never be too compassionate. So I think what can happen
I received
is,
that.
all right. I think
Hmm.
that, like how we talked about earlier about self care,
Hmm.
with self care and really understanding that the pullback of without pulling back compassion, it will just even out, because maybe there's a point where we're overextending. So we're not being too compassionate, but we forgot
In the
ourselves
process.
in
Okay,
the
yeah.
process. So
Hmm.
once you bring yourself back in the picture is now balanced, and you don't have to worry
Hmm.
about being too compassionate or not enough compassionate enough. Because that's the part. Because then that's when we have to make this decision that really goes against the integrity of what we're saying we stand for in the first place. Because we've overwhelmed ourselves because we've forgotten ourselves. You always got
Hmm.
to bring yourself along. Always got to bring yourself along, and that's the thing. When I think about self care as a lifestyle and really getting to the essence and the core of it, rather than something that I do because I'm deciding at the moment that I'm important and I value myself. It's about getting to the point where I am important all the time. I
Hmm.
value myself all the time. I
Hmm.
understand who I am. And when I have to step back, is because I am taking care of me in the way that I know I need to be taken care of. And you're not
Hmm.
going to get it right now, but that's
Hmm.
okay.
Hmm.
That's that's as a lifestyle. You can't. The part of it is you can't abandon yourself, because then you're no longer in it. Then it's the other person. You can't, and that can be a thing to juggle. Because how do I, you know, be compassionate or consider people and do this, and then when I step away and they don't like what I'm doing, what type of person I am right now. That, and that's go back what I said about guilt and resentment. That can't exist either. And that's another thing that can't. There's no guilt. There's no resentment. There's no judgment in your choices. You're just kind of being. But to me, that's also a nice gauge, because when you feel overwhelmed with a situation, or even have the question of I'm gonna have to pull back my compassion when it's something that just should never be pulled back, I definitely have got out of balance in myself a little bit. I've stepped out of my lane and tried to do something. Maybe I tried to, in my experience with one of my things with God, when I tried to be like that, how I'm describing, where I felt for the world,